Hey guys, and welcome back to another park showcase in Jurassic World Evolution. In this episode, we'll be taking a look at Novel Nublar, which is my attempt at recreating the book version of Jurassic Park, complete with its dinosaur population list. Let's get started. So, the starting area is pretty much set up in a similar way that it was in the Return to Jurassic Park expansion. So, we'll take a closer look at this area later. But for now, let's head on towards our first attraction. What I tried to do over here was I wanted to have two tracks here, so that way the people entering the tour would be able to see the guests exiting the tour. It doesn't usually sync up just right, but there's always that small chance that they'll actually see each other, so that's always nice. So going over here would lead to our first area, which is the entrance to Jurassic Park as a tour. So this area is technically not enclosed. I just have the entire guest area of the park enclosed, but this part is actually just open with free roaming procompsognathus. There's about I think 49 that are just free roaming the island right now, so we're not going to try to find them just yet. We'll try checking a bit later though. So this first area is Hypcephalodont Highlands, which includes a total of 49, I think. Yeah, 49 ornithomimids, consisting of 33 dinosaurs and 16 struthiomimus. And I think the majority of them are actually in this watering hole area. One thing I definitely like about having them all in this enclosure is you kind of get a better scale of how large the original Jurassic Park was, just by seeing how many of them are in that one area. Moving out this way, you could see the aviary off in the distance. And over here we have our first carnivore enclosure, which is Carnivore Country 1, which includes 7 Dilophosaurs. The only thing I'm wondering is if we'll actually be able to see any of them right now, since they tend to hide a lot. Oh, there's some over there. There are a total of, like I said, 7. So yeah. In the movie, I think we only saw like one. But yeah. Moving on to our next area. Before we go to the next part of the tracked tour, over here we have the aviary, which was known as Triceratops Lodge. In the context of the book, supposedly the hotel was located above the aviary. I haven't read the entire book. I've listened to the audiobook version though, but I haven't finished it. All I know is that at the top of the aviary there's supposed to be a hotel, but we have it over here because we kinda can't do that. Also, you have a restaurant over here too. And over on the side we also have our weather station. So moving on from here, we're going to go over to Triceratops Territory, which is the next enclosed section of the tour. Triceratops Territory has a total of 8 Triceratops, 18 Styracosaurus, and 16 Cephalosaurus, I think it's pronounced. I'm not sure. The Ankylosaurid that was included in the I think it was the Secrets of Henry Wu update. But yeah, there's some of them over there in the watering hole, and some Styracosaurs also heading towards the pond. There's another Epileptus, the Epileptus, that guy. There he is. It's him. I can't pronounce it for the life of me. But moving on this way, went to the larger watering hole. Here you can see a bunch of the Styracosaurus and Triceratops grazing. What's really weird is that, actually, you know what? These are all Styracosaurs. I think the trikes might be off on their own over there. What's weird is that there's so many Styracosaurs but not that many Triceratops in the Triceratops Territory. Try saying that 3 times fast. There's another view of the aviary up on the mountaintop. Let's get a higher view so you could get a better idea of how large this area is. I pretty much repurposed the entire lagoon area from the movie and made it into a, I guess, a little valley with marshes at the bottom. Also, I had a bit of fun adding in these little ridge areas for maintenance routes for the rangers, so that way the rangers could you know, have a more scenic route to their destinations. And also there's our power plant. So heading back towards the track, going out this way, we'll be heading towards Carnivore Country 2, which is the second carnivore location on our tour. Also, there was another Styracosaur. Oh, 2 of them. Not sure what they're up to, but they seem to just want some time alone instead of, you know, with the whole crowd of them on the other side of the pen. So, leading up to the Carnivore Country 2, we have our rest area, which includes 2 restrooms. I wanted to include one that doesn't exactly look like the one from the movie, but just sort of my own personal representation of a rest area with pathways that lead up to the track and just slightly connect to it, so that way guests can come here, step out of the vehicle, and stretch their legs before resuming their tour of Jurassic Park. So here we have our T-Rex enclosure, which I kind of modeled off of a mix of the design from Jurassic World and also Lost World. So basically a mix of Isla Sorna and Jurassic World. Also, one bit of trivia. In the book, supposedly there were 2 T-Rexes and not just 1. So you'll definitely see. Oh, there they are over there. Speaking of the devil himself. So over here you can see our 2 T-Rexes Basically what I did was I had one of them use the 1993 pattern, and then the other one used the vanilla 2016 or 2015 pattern. So basically they're looking more like they're related, when in reality they're both the exact same T-Rex, just at different points of their life. So you know what, let's take another look from up high so you can get a better view of this enclosure. So as you can see up here, there's plenty of redwoods in here, with lots of areas to imply foot traffic from the T-Rexes. Oh, they're gonna take a nap. That's cute. What about the other one? Is the other one gonna take a nap? No? I like that they're taking a nap in the shade though. The other one's just sort of vibing. I also had a lot of fun working on this little river area. Also the cliffs are looking pretty nice too. So moving on to our next area, we have the Sauropod Swamp, which you can see some of it on the left. It's probably one of the other more impressive enclosures, kind of like the T-Rex one, but a bit more variety, as implied in the book. So the Sauropod Swamp includes 9 apatosaurs, 8 chimerosaurs, 5 edmontosaurs, 21 myosaurs, 6 parasaurolophus, and 22 microceratops. But because those aren't in the game, I used the homocephaly as the stand-in for them. I try to add a lot of clearing so that way guests can see the dinosaurs as they make their way through and not have any risk of possibly missing them because they're hiding. Here's one of the little feeding areas. Then going up here, here's another little lagoon area with some of the chimerosaurs and apatosaurs taking a little bath. If the video looks like it's lagging, that's because it probably is, since there's about 100 dinosaurs in this park right now. So the lag is kind of unavoidable, but I just wanted to see how much I could push the game to its limit. There's one of our quote-unquote microceratops that totally isn't a homocephaly. I'd say this area probably has the most diverse population of dinosaurs. There's a congregation of myosaurs. What's weird is that they usually hang out over here, not in the middle of the track. It's almost like they're starting their own little packs. A lot of the apatosaurs tend to hang out over here. There's one chimerosaur. Just vibing. But yeah, this other little swamp area. Well, this whole area is kind of a swamp, but the apatosaurs like to hang out over here by the larger tree. Moving on to our next enclosure is Stegosaurus South, which only has 4 Stegosaurs in it. You would think there would be more, considering that we have like 21 Myosaurs, but nope, just 4 Stegosaurs. So if this was vanilla Jurassic Park, we wouldn't actually be able to have one exactly like the book, because we're not allowed to have 4 because the social limit is actually 5. But I definitely had a lot of fun with this enclosure. You could kind of see from here. I added a lot of little dirt paths to sort of imply a lot of foot traffic with the Stegosaurs as they roam the enclosure. I also have this cute little watering hole area that's completely surrounded by what's it called? Redwoods. What's weird is that before I kept talking about how I like to use the 1997 mixed with the vanilla versions, but here I used a mix of both of them. Well, actually no, scratch that. I only used the 97s instead of a mixture of the vanilla and the 97s, because there's only females in Jurassic Park, allegedly. Not counting the raptors, which are actually coming up next. Again, I really like how that watering area turned out because it gives them a bit of privacy. And then over there you can see the maintenance gate that goes back to the visitor center. And over here we have Velociraptor Valley, which has a total of 8 Velociraptors. This enclosure uses a mixture of the male and female 1997 raptors from Lost World, because the tiger stripe ones are the ones that were meant to actually appear in the first movie, but just didn't turn out that way. They're also put into the second movie when they were supposed to be based on the ones that were in the book from the first book, which is also weird, but you can't have everything exactly the way you want it, so yeah. I have a mix of male and female raptors in here to kind of imply that they could still change their sex when they feel like it. Just like in the movie. Like, they sort of touched on it, but then I don't know what happened. Like, I feel like looking back at the movie, they just sort of brought it up and then it never became a plot point. Like, they showed that there were eggs on the island that were laid by raptors, but then they didn't do anything with it. But supposedly in the novelization, there was a bit of a breeding. And then there ended up being about, what, I think like 60 something raptors on the island, which is the real reason that they had to firebomb the island, I think. Also, here's our raptor pen, because it's sort of an obligation. It's a standard of Jurassic Park at this point, a staple if you will. And also a goat dispenser. Basically what I wanted to do with this enclosure, in contrary to the book and the movie, was I actually wanted to give the raptors more than enough space to actually roam and, you know, just do raptor things without them feeling claustrophobic. So yeah, I gave them that large watering hole. That this one actually appears by default in the game, but I added this little ridge area. So moving back out here, be going back towards the visitor center. Just gonna try to get a nice little shot of it right there. Looks pretty good. One thing I definitely like, I think I said this before, but I like how the aviary can be seen from any part of the island. And then what's also nice is this little shaded area that the cars pass under while going back to the park tour station. So it allows you to take in the scenery while you're returning to the platform. So going over here would conclude the vehicle part of the tour. And over here we have our hotel and gift shop. This one is called the Marriott Resort, which I think was actually mentioned in the script, but they just never really explicitly talk about it. And I think they also mention it in the book too. I remember reading about it on the Jurassic Park wiki. Also, I like that I have this little line of trees here that go up to the visitor center. So that way when vehicles come out, they have this little shaded area. And here's our visitor center that you can't actually use the front door, but yeah, we'll pretend that you can for the sake of the video. And over here we have our other hotel. This one not being canon, but just sort of to look nice next to the helipad. And this little pond I put here is called the Fontana Resort, which is actually named after the Fontana Resort that's found in Clark Air Base in the Philippines, which you can actually visit. This is not a promotion for that resort. I just have a lot of fond memories of going there, like years ago. So I have no idea if it's as nice as I remember. So going back to that pond that I mentioned, if you try looking at it from over here, I like to imagine that the guests can actually, you know, enjoy the view of the pond and the hotel, and also this mountain range from the comfort of their little restaurant area where they never tend to drink anything. But we'll just pretend that they do. Also, a little bit of a detail here that I don't think a lot of people bring up is how there's a bar here, but there's no one actually serving at the bar, which is also kind of strange. But yeah, we're going to exit the free roam camera view so we can get a better look at the entire population of the island. But before we do that, let's do one last zoom out of the park, just to give an idea of how large it is. Gorgeous. Yeah, it's kind of a big park. But anywho, let's back out and go back into camera mode. Well, you know, normal mode, I guess. So before I mentioned that there were a bunch of compies running around. Here's 2 of them. Let's get a better look at where they are right now. So yeah, you could definitely see that there's a lot of them. See, 33. I wasn't bluffing when I said I made all of them. 40, 44. Uh-oh, someone has low health, but who? Uh-oh. We'll send someone out to help them. Our first Microceratops is looking a bit ill. Probably not getting enough food. One problem I definitely had here was trying to come up with enough feeders to actually accommodate the entire Sauropod Swamp, which was not easy. I think I spent at least 30 minutes trying to set up a proper arrangement of synchronized feeders so that way they would get out their food on time before they started getting too hungry. And I guess this one just happens to be the one that didn't actually eat, I guess. He's fasting. She's fasting. And over here you can see that I have these power plants. So I just wanted to point out, not only did I make the park, but it actually is being sustained with electricity. It's not just a sandbox thing. I actually tried to accommodate the entire park. And from what I see here, it should, but I have no idea where this last 3 required power is. Not the slightest idea. So over here, let's get another view of the aviary, which is probably one of my favorites of the entire park, just because of how much it stands out over everything else. Like, it looks really nice. When it comes to pathing, it's not exactly spectacular, but it gets the job done. I also added, like I said, a lot of little pathways off on the sides, so that way it's not just trees for the sake of there being trees. And this one says hatchery 2. Originally there was a second one, but yeah, we only left one of them. And this is probably where I spent at least 16 hours of the time spent making this park. Yeah, here, breeding the dinosaurs. Back in December when I actually streamed this. But yeah, let's see the, yeah, like I said before, I wasn't kidding when I said that there were 30, or was it 36, no, 33 dinosaurs in the park. You could definitely see that they're all accounted for. I'll even open this up to show it. So, one thing I'll definitely say is that you can't do this with the vanilla social requirements and population requirements. I think they'll probably go crazy before that period comes and goes. So, yeah. One interesting thing I would say though is that there is so many compies in here that there's actually more than one alpha. There's one alpha over here and another one over here, and they pretty much started their own separate packs or colonies, I guess, because there's just so many of them. And then over here you could see that another situation kind of like that happened with the Ankylosaurids, the Styrax, and the Trikes. They all have their own designated, but multiple designated alphas. So I used a mixture of when it comes to the trikes, I used a mixture of the vanilla and the 1993 patterns for variety. Surprisingly, despite the fact that there are so many pine trees here, it actually isn't lagging all that much. My theory is that it's probably based on how many guests are actually generated with the vanilla game when compared to 1993 mode. So yeah, Frontier, if you could fix that, that would be great. Also, at the time that I was recording this, I actually found out that Jurassic World Evolution was actually just announced for the Switch, which is pretty neat. I kind of thought it would come out on the Switch sooner, but from what I've seen, they're going to be having the entire collection of expansions all packed together into one game. So it's going to be called, I think, like the Complete Edition or Complete Collection or something like that. But I digress. Let's take another look at the Stegosaurus South. So one thing I noticed is that from time to time the Stegosaurus would come and wander out this way. So there's a good chance that if there's guests coming down this way, they'll probably see the Stegosaurus using this watering hole instead of the main one. Where actually are the other Stegosaurus? Oh, they're actually all being shy and hiding out this way. And yeah. What's going on over here? Are they like, no, I thought they were getting agitated. But doesn't seem like it. So yeah. But I think that should cover everything in this park. Unless, oh, did I show the park, what's it called? The East Dock signs. I think I mentioned this earlier, but I'm not too sure. But I added this little trail over here to imply that the East Dock could be that way. And because of that, I had the East Dock sign pointing the complete opposite direction, because it's Jurassic Park, and we all know what happens when you try to get to East Dock. You don't. And there's way too many compies. Way too many compies. Jeez. Look at that. There's so many of them. But yeah, I think the most tedious part of working on this park was creating all of these compies. There's the last one that I ever made. Number 49. But yeah, like I said, they free roam. Occasionally they would actually, because they're not enclosed in their own designated pen, they tend to wander along the edges of the map and get lost. In the context of the book, supposedly they didn't put them in their own pen, and they made their way off the island through like waterways and getting on board boats and stuff, which is not exactly the best thing for publicity. I guess you could say they're an invasive species. Also, here's another one of my maintenance ways I go to the enclosures. I have quite a few of them. One over here, one that goes to both Sauropod Swamp and the T-Rex enclosure. But yeah. Oh, also at Pterosaur Peak there are a total of 6 Pteranodons. So just like there was in the book. So yeah, I hope you guys like this little tour of the park. Let's end it here with this nice little view of the visitor center. So yeah, if you guys like the video, remember to like and subscribe for more Jurassic World content, and remember to follow me on Twitch and Twitter, where I'll be posting my streaming schedule. I don't have an exactly set schedule. I just post whenever I'm actually online to Twitter. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. See ya.